What is up, guys? Goody here, and welcome to some more NTW3. So today we're on the Battle of Rivoli. There's going to be a battle between the French and the Austrians. So if you guys don't know, the French in this battle were actually defending against the Austrians. The French had about maybe 18,000 men, to where the Austrians had about 28,000. And taking a look at the map, you can just see the sheer size and just the battlefield. So a lot of cool stuff here. We have a huge mountain on this side. On both sides we have Austrian troops marching up to French positions. So as you can tell, only have 2 units on this side of the battlefield. The rest of my guys are still forming up in the back. But the engagement is starting to commence. As you can tell, he's got some skirmishers. They're going to be shooting my troops as from a pretty far distance, so going to continue to shift more troops over. Now, one mistake I did make at the beginning of the battle was that I deployed on this side of the battlefield, which there is no contact, so no enemy forces. Now, I didn't know that at the time, so I was messing up pretty badly, because this is probably over half my force, you know, is fighting something that's nothing. If that makes sense. Probably doesn't. But anyways, as you can tell, Austria is now making the attack. And we also have more Austrian forces pushing up as well. Not to mention, on the other side of the river, we have even more troops all the way down here. And they're going to actually be wrapping around this map. And I do have a very strategic point here. With a couple of French troops, only 39, and they're going to be holding out against a lot. Now, if you continue down here by the path, as you can tell, you will be able to cross a bridge and get over to my side of the battlefield. And as you can tell, there's nothing here, so I really need to keep that from happening. But as you can tell, the engagement is about to commence. We got some Austrians on the hill, and things are really starting to pick up now. Shifting over even more troops. As you can tell, more hiding troops are coming out from all over the place. But the Austrians have a very solid line from the get-go, and they do hold the hill advantage. So not being smart about my moves right now. Fighting some bad terrain and also being outnumbered is not a good combination. I'm going to continue to try and shift as many troops over as possible. Cavalry is already on the move and sending a ton more over from the left flank. But still, as you can tell, no troops are being moved over from the very far left flank. And like I said, this is a massive portion of my lines. Now, I'm going to put a map up on the screen of what the actual battlefield looked like compared to this map. And as you can tell, it's pretty accurate. So, I mean, the game developers definitely know what they're talking about. Or excuse me, mod creators definitely know what they're talking about when making this, because extremely accurate. Now, this was a victory for the French. This was around January 14th, 15th, 1797, so during the French Revolution. And a lot of bloodshed is happening right now. As you can tell, Austrians getting ever so closer to my front lines over here. And still, only 2 units holding this choke point. I'm still trying to get more guys over. And this is when I'm starting to realize that I am in the wrong. There's no troops over here. So my guys are going to be doing a 180. Ton of men. I'm going to be heading back the other direction to help the rest of the forces out as they do try to counter these Austrians. So knowing that I'm outnumbered, and I really don't want to give him any room, I'm actually going to have to fall back eventually, just because the outcome is not working out so well. As you can tell, I'm taking a lot more losses than he is, and I know that he has more men than I do, so that can't happen. I need to be killing more of him than he does of me. Gotta love the Austrians though, rocking the wigs, and they look fantastic. Got the mustaches and everything. Oh, lots of bodies dropping. So over here, you see the Austrians now pushing up even further. We've got the artillery leading the way, which is strange. But my men still not breaking despite seeing them completely outnumbered. I wonder what they're thinking right now. And I'm actually going to be starting to shoot out from the windows, which is going to help out quite a bit. But only 4 guys shooting is really not going to do too much. Over here, got my lights in light formation. And you can just see the blood squirting out from these guys as they do get shot. My lines, very, very thin. But they are definitely trying their best right now to keep up with the fire rate of these Austrians, which are definitely outnumbering me. Not to mention, over here, we have even more Austrians coming down from the hillside and onto my position. Now, luckily, I did capture this building, so that's going to help me out in the battle. But now my light infantry is starting to break. And, you know, I do have my general over here trying to inspire my men. So the first unit to break from the battlefield. Now, here we go. We have the house engagement. Austrians now trying to break through. My guys are trying to shoot them as they do enter the building. They're going to get some nice point-blank volleys. Breaking the windows and shooting them from point blank. And they're slowly wrapping around the perimeter and engaging on the first floor. So Austrians now trying to make it up to the second floor. Actually managed to do so. And forcing their way up higher and higher. French trying their best, but definitely outnumbered from outside. We have the artillery now engaging, trying to cause as much damage to my line infantry. Line infantry trying their best to break these guys from entering. But the second floor is completely filled with Austrians now. First floor pretty much even, if not, Austrians are winning. And they just keep sending more guys in. So at this point in time, I'm like, nope, this is not going to work out. I don't have the troops. I'm definitely outnumbered. So I'm going to fall back and wait for my reinforcements. And as you can tell, it's going to be some time before reinforcements do arrive. They're trying their best to march over, but sadly, it is a very long journey. You know, stretching probably half the battlefield, which sucks so bad, but big mistake on my end. Did not realize what was going on. So, another house defense about to happen. We got these guys defending over here, and it looks like this cavalry is not paying attention to what is happening, and as a result, it's going to be able to take them out. Blood squirting some more. And there they go, breaking from the battlefields. But not to mention, more Austrian troops now being sent over. You guys will see just how important these guys are on the battlefield. Got some guys in all white, looking very nice. So seeing that my flank has collapsed and I don't want to get pinched, I'm actually going to be sending over my light infantry to this side of the battlefield. And they're going to be there to try and skirmish with the enemy forces. As you can tell, I do have a nice hill advantage over the Austrians. But they are coming full force right now, trying to gain some elevation. And as you can tell, they are not being contested one bit right now. So falling back to some more flat ground, as you can tell. A little bit more even, you know, playing field. My general still enjoying the show. You know, in the front lines, which is a little dangerous, but hey, he's gotta enjoy the moment sometimes. So, looking into the sunrise or sunset, but now he's getting a little too close, and he's gonna fall back behind friendly lines. As you can tell, we got a cavalry charge now coming in from the Austrians. They're gonna be pushing into my lights. Now, I do have some line infantry over here. I'm trying to shift over as many troops as I can without hindering how many guys I can have over here. The Austrian player doing a really good job of just pushing. But here we go, another engagement here. And 38 men are going to be faced up against over 200, if not more. So coming around the building now, going to be entering through the one doorway. And these three guys have a very big surprise, busting down the door and saying hello to their fellow neighbors. Killing one, killing two, losing one. These guys are doing a really good job killing these guys. We got the officer now down on the first floor. Hearing some commotions, gonna try and help out with the fight. Some guys getting choked, and we have the flag bearer now helping out. Man, this officer is kicking some serious ass right now, but eventually dying with the flag bearer. Got the drummer boy now. And I believe another officer. But as you can tell, the French are going to break and lose the house. So very quick engagement. Did cause some damage, but not enough to keep those guys from entering. Over here, we got the cavalry charge. They did charge in, actually breaking the light infantry. But luckily, one of my line units did form square in time. And I'm going to be holding up this cav push. So reinforcements now getting a little bit closer every second. But still a very far march. And Austrians now winning the house. They're going to be pushing out further down the road and wrapping around like I said. But look at these forces here on this side of the battlefield. A ton of guys. My guys are in square formation. Going to try and get them out of square formation. Taking a look on the other side of the battlefield, we have some more troops that are going to be engaging. So, got some Austrians here up against some more French troops. And the French, like I said, are still heavily outnumbered. Tough times for the French, that is for sure. So, right now, Austrian player really not wanting to make a push down the center, even though this is probably the most important time to do so. Because this is where I do not have any reinforcements. And I'm still sticking with my primary line. So you can easily start pushing up and causing some insane damage to my units. But he's not attacking. And very lucky that he's not. Because it's going to allow me, like I said so many times before, to get reinforcements where they're needed. So, my guys are starting to get fatigued after the long journey from the other side of the map. Artillery shooting a hill for no apparent reason. I don't know what the hill did to that artillery crew. But here we go. It looks like the engagement is about to pick up once again on this side. Got my skirmishers engaging their skirmishers. And here goes a melee charge from the Austrians, charging down onto my light infantry. Light infantry standing absolutely no chance. And seem to be breaking, going to be breaking on impact very shortly. There they go. And now they're getting absolutely slaughtered. Over here, my two units unable to defend against the massive horde of Austrians are going to be breaking. But luckily, some reinforcements are starting to trickle in. As you can tell, I'm going to be setting them up at some strategic points. Austrians now on the move. They are hidden. But they are moving down the road and behind my lines. So Austrian troops right now, they really should be pushing out, trying to gain some space. But instead, they're going to be staying at this choke point. And seeing that the Austrians are trying to push up, going to try and fall back a little bit more. This left flank starting to pick up as well. Guys shooting from the hills, or house, excuse me. I'm trying to get some kills. I do have a pretty significant cav force here. But there's no point in using them right now, seeing that it is a one-way battle. No flanks are exposed, especially with these tight positions. But here comes the Austrians now pushing up and getting ready. A lot of guys. So killing quite a few of these Austrians. But the Austrians will get some return volleys in. Right flank looking very bad in morale, so I do have a general here to try and inspire my men. Even the reinforcements are a little bit nervous about this engagement. So now the battle is really starting to pick up, dropping a lot of Austrians as they do march up onto my position and losing a lot of losses. But this return volley is going to be absolutely devastating to my guys, and let's take a look of what will happen. So losing a couple here and there, not actually as bad as I intended it to be. Seems like I'm doing a pretty good job despite being outnumbered still. These guys actually look really cool. Got either a dark blue or a purple outline. But now my guys are starting to break once again. And that's actually starting with the general. So losing 2 guys, he's going to be out of there. And here comes a cavalry charge by the Austrians. And they're getting very close, but they are exhausted. It's going to allow my guys to get some really good volleys in. But it looks like they're not shooting the right unit. Now I do form a square to hopefully counter this. And it seems like it will work out pretty well, but the morale, like I said, not looking good. But now my reinforcements have arrived. So what I'm going to try and do is separate them into 2 sections. So I'm going to have one section facing this choke point and one section facing this main line. And I'm actually going to cycle out the units. I know these guys have been fighting through hell for the past about 10 minutes. So I'm going to give them some breathing room. Push my reinforcements up to take control and engage on the front line. So here we go. Now, one mistake I did make about this is shooting my own guys in the back, and I will show you just why. My guys get a little bit too antsy here and just take out a couple of my own men as they do retreat, pulling a Stalin, but not a big deal. You know, can lose a couple guys here and there. Luckily, the cavalry did break. They were causing a lot of damage for my guys, but look at this. Even numbers now, and the Austrians are definitely going to be feeling the pain. They should have been pushing harder from the start. And it's going to cost them quite a bit, but look how many reinforcements I have now arriving on the battlefield. Ton of troops. We have the artillery still moving in from afar. And now I have some reserve lines, so feeling very confident at this point. And now the tide is starting to turn. As you can tell, the Austrian morale is starting to look pretty bad. Going to be taking control of this building over here, seeing that there's no other place for these guys. Actually going to start setting up my artillery. And I'm actually going to be shifting over some cavalry, seeing that there is an Austrian cav unit on this side. But let's take a look at where these Austrians are. They are right about here right now. Getting ready to cross the bridge. They're still hidden and far away from my guys. So here we go. More engagements. And as you can tell, Austrian's only able to push up so many guys due to this choke point. So he does have a lot of reserves, but look at this route from the Austrians. Breaking one unit, causing a massive gap in the line. And that morale is not looking as great as it could be. The rest of the lines are looking decent, but over here on the right flank for them, it's also not looking too great. So at this point in time, I'm starting to think about my artillery and how I can use them. So what I'm going to try and do is push my artillery up into the front lines and start using canister. But right now I need to unlimber my artillery on this side because they have a great angle on these Austrians, which are just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. And over here I decide to push up my French troops to commence the attack on the Austrians. Austrians actually falling back to somewhat up their hillside. You can tell this road's kind of like a valley splitting the two hills. But back over on the main side, left flank could be looking better. Still outnumbered by quite a bit. You can see I do have units from the first or start of the engagement over there. But I am really starting to kick ass in the center. Lots of bodies are dropping at a very consistent rate. Red morale for this unit. But there goes another unit, and now my center is starting to take a turn for the worst. So here goes my cavalry. Going to commence the charge very, very soon. And I want to catch these Austrians off guard, but it looks like they are paying attention. I'm going to start retreating back to their side of the battlefield, and I'm going to have absolutely none of that. So I'm going to commence the charge for all of my 4 units to hopefully stop them from retreating over to the other side. But now my lines are getting very, very weak. Now what I'm going to try and do, I do see he has an artillery piece on this hill, and it's at a very good location, so I can't have any of that. I'm going to try and charge it down, and I will manage to break it and kill everyone in this unit. So all of them dying at once. And yeah, they're dead. A little anticlimactic there. Climatic, excuse me. But here we go. Cavalry charge now happening for the French. And just slaughtering these guys as they try to retreat. Taking a lot of losses. But look at this mass rout now starting to occur for the Austrians. They do have some reserves to fill the gaps, but for the most part, a lot of troops mass routing. Something you do not want to see. Very few units now with green morale. And this mass rout breaking at least 7 units. Or 6 units. Lots of dead men. So over here on this side of the battlefield, continuing to push up some more guys. The Austrians are on the other side, ready for me and waiting. But look at this mass rout. I was feeling very, very confident at this point. Pushing through, my reserves doing the job that they needed to do. Made lots of dead bodies. So now, on the left flank, I'm going to try and start wrapping around, seeing that I broke the artillery. I'm going to try and get closer to these Austrian units, but my morale on the far left is struggling quite a bit right now. Cavalry falling back. Their cab did make it out, but they are shattered, so I did do my job. And now let's take a look in here where these Austrians are on the other side of the battle. And it seems to be pretty quiet. Not too sure where these guys are located. They're somewhere over here. And that is very scary news for the French, but it's not news because they don't know it yet. I had no clue this was happening. I knew they were somewhere over there, but did not think anything of it. Worst case scenario, my reserves just do a 180 and face them head on. Now my artillery starting to fire for once, and are going to be shooting their artillery in lines. So here I go. Got some more artillery pieces pushing up, and now I'm starting to lose on this side of the battlefield. So it's a game of just, you know, ups and downs. You win this engagement, you lose that engagement, and it just switches so many times. But for some reason, these Austrians just don't want to come back. Maybe their numbers are just too low. I mean, 105 out of 182. Still some pretty healthy numbers. But as a result, you know, some of these units are going to be falling back for some very strange reasons. As you can tell, my units are now starting to suffer. I have more artillery engaging. And just taking a look at these battle lines of dead bodies. ton of losses. So my lines were covering up the losses, but now they are completely shown. Some nasty battle scars, and same for the Austrians. Just pulling back a little bit, pulling back the sheets and uncovering a lot of dead Austrians. But now my artillery is going to be playing a big role in this engagement. Barely shooting over my friendly troops and hitting those Austrians hard with some canister and some regular cannonballs. But now I'm going to be unleashing hell with canister from these guys. And they are in a very good position. More units on this side. And the engagement's actually commencing on this side of the battlefield. Got my skirmishers now engaging. Taking out one guy over there. As you can see him dead on the ground. I do hear a charge. Let's take a look at that. Oh! Managed to charge into another artillery piece that is on, you know, microed. Not microed. And there they go. So, more artillery being sent over, but for the most part, pretty big stalemate. I am doing a pretty good job on this flank, pushing back the Austrians even further. Look at that blood. So there they go, running away like the cowards they are. And here I go, setting up canister for my guys. So really nice positioning. As you can tell, this terrain's excellent for me. Easily able to visualize where the enemy is at. And that's going to allow for some very nice canister shots. So this house over here, still no combat, but look at this interior, pretty cool. And we have another unit here in the corner of the house, which is very strange to see. But there's a lot of doors on this building. 4 to 5, so a lot of entry points for the Austrians if they do wish to attack. But things are really going to start picking up now. Canister ripping holes into these Austrian lines. And let's take a look at these units as they do unlimber their artillery, getting ready to engage. It's a pretty slow section of the battle, but look at this. Some hussars made it over now, and you can hear the men marching behind them. Not good news at all. Now my canister, feeling very good about this one. Let's check this volley out. There they go, firing their artillery. And soaring just above the lines of the Austrians. Over here though, ripping a hole into some Austrian lines, sending a couple guys flying and screaming. A lot of pain and agony, so pretty big stalemate right now. Not too much is going on. It's pretty much who can use the artillery better. As you can tell, Austria's now unlimbering their artillery. And shifting over some more units. And as you can tell, doing that is going to be a huge mistake. Another artillery piece about to fire, I believe. Nope, they're still reloading. So we'll fast forward just a little bit. Got more units now unlimbering, turning the cannons around and getting ready. These two units though, or these two pieces are going to be super devastating. I vividly remember these guys just tearing holes into these Austrian lines. So let's take a look as these guys do unlimber their artillery pieces. It does take ages for them to do so. Trying to give them some room. And let's check this volley out from the Austrian point of view. So getting ready to fire now, forming up, and there he goes, turning the guns. He should be firing now, I think, right? Nope, you're just teasing me. Uh, teasing me. Anyways, are you gonna fire? Oh, there you go. Teasing me right now. And look at that, ripping some chunks out of the Austrian lines. But let's take a look elsewhere on the battlefield. Things are really picking up on this side. I am outnumbered, but I am holding as strong as possible. As you can tell, he's put himself into 3 sections. Center force and a left and right flank. Now the flank's going to be very effective. I do see this, so I'm going to be sending over some cavalry to try and help because I know I can't hold on my own. But for the most part, this artillery is causing a lot of damage, and as a result, forcing these Austrians back, killing a lot of guys. So there they go, but look at what is going on right now. We've got some Austrian cavalry outside my building. And there's some Austrian lines now being seen from afar. So they're just, you know, looking around, scouting out what is over here. And all I have is my communications, guys. Only 12 of them. They're going to be on the first and second floor. So there goes the engagement. Another big stalemate, but not for my artillery. Ripping some more holes into those Austrian lines and forcing them back. So we're gonna fast forward a little bit more. Actually, I take that back. Engagement still continuing on this side of the battlefield. I am doing a pretty good job, I have to say. You know, I'm trying my best to get my cavalry over here, but for the most part, playing it pretty smart right now. French troops trying their best. Still taking a couple losses, and there goes another general routing from the battlefield. Looks like Rivoli just got to one of his guys, and he is gone. These guys really don't have a good visual on any of the troops. But over here, that is not the case. Every volley killing at least 5 guys. Now I'm engaging on this hillside, but taking a look back over here, forcing this unit to form square. I'm going to be shifting my cavalry around behind enemy positions and then charging in on them. But even without the cavalry, managing to break a couple of these Austrian units. Wrapping around now. These guys are tired from the long march, but here I go, turning them around now and charging into the backs of these Austrians. This guy pulling off a fake death, trying to escape, save his life, but he's gonna get trampled by cavalry, which is another way to die, and I don't think you want that, buddy. So rest in peace, my friend. Absolutely destroying that first unit. Now sending my cav over to the second unit. So big relief force for my troops. Doing a lot of devastating damage, but here comes the Austrians now, marching down into the town, which is definitely unprotected. Canister still ripping holes into both sides of the lines. And over here I'm going to be forcing some more troops back. As you can tell, the house doing a good job shooting these guys from the hillside, killing a couple. But you'll see that these Austrians are going to have none of that. Over here, a mass rout by the Austrian forces. Something that I really wanted to see, and something that I really wasn't thinking of that would happen. So if it wasn't for that cavalry, you know, would not have been the case. But my lines are getting pretty weak on the left flank. As you can tell, house engagement is starting to begin. Busting through this little, I don't know what this is, a hut? Strange place, but it looks like they're going to be going through here and killing each other through the walls. So interesting to see. Actually, looks like the Austrians have some special abilities to go straight through brick walls. Oh man, that is very strange to see. But look at this, my communications house now, looking outside the window and witnessing a ton of Austrians coming in. Not a pleasant sight to see at all. And these guys are going to be running towards the house. Now, I did not know that they were here, and it is a not a good thing, because if I lose this house, I lose the game. And I didn't know that at the time, so really should have kept more attention over here. And these guys are about to get scared to death by some Austrians. First one choking one guy out. So still no losses, 2 kills, 1 loss. And they're going to be making their way up to the 2nd floor. These guys are trying their best, losing a general and now losing the house. And there goes the house. And look at this, morale's going bad in a complete mass rout of my guys. This was horrible to see, and I just could not believe it. I mean, look at all my troops routing from the battlefield, running from the hillsides, all over the place, just running away. They are done. The game is over. I mean, just like that, a complete mass rout of my troops, and I was feeling very confident. As you can tell, a lot of bodies, but still, artillery holding on. But this mass rout was just unbelievable to see. So many troops just running for their lives because he lost a house. I mean, ridiculous. I guess that's kind of what happens historically. I mean, your general's dead and your guys start to freak out and break. But I mean, it's just ridiculous. Insane. Unbelievable. And that is the game. So just like that, very anticlimactic. But Austrian player did play it very, very smart, breaking through the house and killing my communications. So taking a look at the statistics, Napoleon getting 1,500 kills, excuse me, 2,200 kills and only 1,500 losses, as to where the Austrians lost 2,300 and killed 1,500. So not good. I mean, pretty good stats, but you know, the result was very, very bad. So Austrians were able to turn the tide and change history, beating back the French as they attack. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys later.